Hello, my name is Crystal Hunt, and I'm a technical training associate with the Autism Center for Education at VCU. Today, I'll be discussing transition considerations for students with ASD. Our objectives today are to understand what the research says about transition and how we can use this information to guide preparation in education among our students with autism. You also should understand how to help students get connected with services and have a general knowledge of community-based instruction and post-school transition-based programs. The research on transition considerations for students with ASD can help us to understand why transition planning is so important for this population of students. Researchers Rux and colleagues provide a few statistics from their 2015 study in regards to students with ASD and their employment outcomes. The study found that every year, roughly 50,000 students with ASD leave high school, but within 2 years post-high school, only 1/3 of those students are working. When looking directly at young adults in their early 20s with ASD, 42% of them have never had a paying job. Researchers Rux and colleagues also explored 4 additional factors that they believed were related to employment outcomes. They found a discrepancy between upper income households, where about 72% of individuals with disabilities who were considered from an upper income household worked after high school, but only 33% of individuals with disabilities from a lower income household worked. About 66% of white young adults work compared to Black and Hispanic youth, which both had percentages in the 30%. Communication skills also factored into employment as well. The researchers found that almost 90% of those with high levels of conversational skills worked, whereas 15% of individuals considered with lower conversational skills worked. Previous work experience also mattered in the way that students with disabilities who had a paying job while in high school were more than twice as likely to have a job after high school. When we dive deeper and look into specific statistics surrounding students with autism, we find that they fare worse than any other disability category. They only make up 17.9% of employment for persons with disabilities. However, we know that the prevalence of autism is increasing, and the CDC's 2023 research states that 1 in 36 children is now diagnosed with autism. And as much as we know about the research of who is working, we also know that there are stated benefits to working. Individuals who work have a higher quality of life. They tend to have better health and wellness outcomes. They experience the benefits of integration, financial means, and independence. As well, employment can create a decrease in interfering behaviors. So, what does the research tell us about the predictive factors of employment success? What needs to happen for our students with ASD to be successfully employed? Well, research by Swind in 2021 and Wayman in 2013 showed that best practices in schools matter. When schools focus on social skills, positive work behaviors, and building self-determination and self-regulation, plus also give students time to build their career interests, students are more likely to gain successful employment. Now that we know transition preparation and education can lead to better employment outcomes, let's dive into what educators can do to help their students with ASD be transition ready. The earlier, the better. When it comes to transition, that motto rings true. The earlier, the better. Waiting until high school to start transition preparation is too late. Earlier transition planning leads to better employment outcomes. In order to prepare earlier for transition, we have to empower teachers across grade levels who can then provide support to their students. Researchers Swinged, Orland, and Davidson conducted a mixed methods study for elementary age students with autism, where they developed and implemented a community-based instruction program in the school. Some of the jobs included the students running a coffee cart, holding jobs in the library, organizing the lost and found, maintaining a garden, and then running a farmer's market. What's interesting is they found the following 4 indicators associated with the program's success. Number 1 was having the support from administrators to have an inclusive setting and buy-in to the community-based instruction program. They started with win-win jobs, where the students could understand the jobs quickly and be motivated to work. All stakeholders in education, including administrators, teachers, and parents, were supportive of the program. And then last, the parents were informed about the program and they had opportunities to engage and be involved as well. Researchers Williams, Dime, and Deardoff conducted a study on early transition practices in 2020. They found that building early transition skills during the elementary level led to a smoother transition to middle school. They found that middle school was the right time for career exploration, building advocacy skills, independence, self-determination, and teaching goal setting. Establishing a solid transition plan as part of the IEP process and then providing support to students from middle to high school leads to better employment outcomes after high school. Essentially, their work shows that transition was a process and a staircase to climb. Once students are in middle school, it's important to continue to implement community-based instruction, but you also want to start building upon those elementary experiences by focusing on the 6 points listed here on the slides. It's important to focus on building soft skills, such as professional greetings, time management, flexibility, conflict resolution, responsibility, and working as part of a team. Middle school is a great time to ensure students have good hygiene practices in place and are a part of the sex education curriculum at their school. Exploring interest areas and administering formal assessments can help students learn about their work interests, and from there, educators can build upon those interests and help students to learn about job opportunities that align with their interests. It's also really important to generalize skills outside of the classroom and school. Educators should have open communication with families about skills that they're working on in the classroom and develop and encourage families to give their middle schoolers chores that mirror those same skills. This can be a great way to introduce generalization. Educators can get creative with school-based enterprises. You can learn about what students did in their elementary schools and put a new twist on it for older students, or come up with ideas that work well for your specific school environment. Identify what the middle school students' strengths are and continue to expand their capacity. Also, go ahead and identify challenge areas to success and independence and work to address those challenges. Here in this chart are ways that educators can teach soft skills. Role playing what to do versus not to do at work, providing case studies, and letting students discuss how a work challenge could be solved in the most professional way possible. And creating fun teamwork opportunities are a great way to get students engaged, while also teaching them soft skills. On this slide, you'll find a list of transition assessments. I've also included a screenshot to the Virginia Department of Education's secondary transition page. At the bottom of this webpage, you'll find a transition assessment toolkit. The link to the VDOE site is located below the picture. Here in this slide are curriculum resources for educators. Whose Future Is It Anyway? Is designed for students with disabilities and helps to learn more about their interests, needs, and preferences. Self-directed IEP gives educators lessons to help students lead their own IEP meetings. The self-directed learning model of instruction provides a model for teaching problem solving and goal setting. The Brigance Transition Skills Inventory is a transition planning tool that puts a student's interests and skills first, while also allowing educators and parents to share their perspectives. I'm Determined's one pager is the resource that I use most frequently in my work with employment and transition age youth. I find it to be extremely beneficial and impactful with employer interaction. Right here, you'll see a one-pager template from the I'm Determined organization. It could even be helpful for educators to create their own one-pagers. It can help you to learn more about yourself, and when your students do it, you'll learn more about them. There's also a link above the template on this page that contains additional I'm Determined one-pager templates and even a video that captures a youth's perspective on why one-pagers are important. Now, moving on to high school transition. Here listed on the slide are 6 things that educators can do to help high school students. Give the students opportunities to share their likes and dislikes and pay attention to the signs that are there. Do students struggle when working as a part of a team, but thrive during independent work? Is your student very meticulous and detail-oriented? Do they come in every weekend discussing what they cooked with their family and how involved they are in the food prep process? These are all good signs. They can lead you to learn more about a student's career interests. Build career exploration into the curriculum. Make time for it during the day. Promote independence whenever possible. This can be done by letting students lead their IEP meetings, collaborating with them on creating supports to use in and outside of school, and allowing students to use cell phones for time management. Locate work opportunities within the school environment, such as being an office helper or librarian assistant, but also continue to create work opportunities in the school environment. Just as in middle school, educators at the high school level can expand upon CBIs that were in place, but tailor them to fit the needs of the new school. Also, look into businesses nearby and see if your students can have a CBI outside of the classroom in the school environment. Share information about post-school opportunities with students early. Don't wait until a student's 4th year of high school to tell them about post-school opportunities. High school freshmen working towards an applied studies diploma can benefit from knowing what their post-school opportunities are, just as we do for students on a standard diploma track. Encourage and assist students to participate in work preparation programs. This goes along with sharing that post-school information with students early. High school students also need to be connected with services in order to benefit from some of these work preparation programs. Building the capacity of our students is only one step. We also have to connect them with providers in order to make transition successful. I would be remiss if I did not mention how important collaboration with families are during all stages of the transition process. Family involvement will be essential to discussing connections with service providers and applying to post-work transition programs. Educators have a wonderful opportunity to cultivate relationships with families and help involve them in the transition process. If you recall from our earlier slides, the study on elementary age CBIs by Schwind and colleagues found that parents being supportive of the CBIs were a key factor in the program's success. The number one thing educators can do to involve families in the transition program are to communicate with them about transition. Sometimes when families are hesitant about transition, it is because of a fear of the unknown. They may be thinking, what comes after high school? Take the fear out of the unknown by having lots of conversations about transition and have them early. Educators can empower families during the transition process by sharing information on what families can do to help prepare their child for life after high school. Explain to families ways they can build self-determination and advocacy within their child by letting them make choices. They can include their child in meal planning for the family or allow them to pack their own lunch. During IEP meetings, Keep the focus on strengths instead of weaknesses, and encourage families to share which of their child's strengths they see at home. Talking to families about creating opportunities for independence for their child can help to generalize those skills across settings and build a sense of responsibility. Kids in middle and high school can maybe set their own alarms and keep their own calendars. Parents can also support their child's transition by helping them with career development at home. Parents can have conversations with their child about what they do for work, what family members do for work, and what their child would be interested in their future. On this slide, you'll see a visual of the flow of student services. If you look at where transition prep underway begins, it is in 10th grade or at least 3 years prior to exiting. Educators should be familiar with this flow of student services and knowledgeable about sharing this information with families. Knowing how to get set up with the Division of Rehabilitative Services, or DARS, is essential information. Familiarize yourself with the process so that it can be shared with families. Families can contact their local office to begin the referral process, but oftentimes there are DARS counselors that are assigned to certain high schools. Connect students and families with this counselor. DARS provides a variety of services, including pre-ETS, which is pre-employment transition services that can begin at age 14. DARS also connects clients with job coaches, and their mission is to help individuals with disabilities to find and maintain employment. Here are 3 examples of transition-based programs. As I mentioned in the previous slide, DARS has a pre-employment transition program called pre-ETS. The starting age for pre-ETS is 14. Topics covered through pre-ETS include career exploration, work-based learning experiences, exploration of education and training programs for after high school, workplace readiness training to develop social and independent living skills, and self-advocacy. ASD is an inclusive program for transition age youth with disabilities. The ASD program at Virginia Commonwealth University provides individualized support to students who participate in employment on campus, attend college classes, and on-campus activities. Project Search is an internship program with disabilities in their last year of high school. During the program, the students learn transferable job skills and soft skills by participating in 3 different internships at the host business. Here in Virginia, we have Project Search sites that are in hospital settings and military installations, giving students with autism a wide range of job skills to develop. As I conclude for today, I want to highlight 4 key takeaways. Although the employment outcomes for our students with ASD are lower than any other disability, we also know that just as early intervention for the youngest of kiddos can be so beneficial, so can early transition preparation. Educators can use best practices across all grade levels to improve post-school employment outcomes. Collaboration is the key. We have to work with and empower our students and their families in order to see real change and have better employment outcomes. Listed here are the research studies that I cited during this presentation. You'll also find links on the curriculum page and resources embedded throughout the presentation. Thank you so much for listening today and for the meaningful work that you do in your community. I appreciate you tuning in to learn more about transition considerations for our students with autism. Thank you.